Because when your mind and your body and your breath are working together, everything changes. You step into your role as a creator in your life instead of a reactor or a responder to what everybody else thinks you should be, showing up to. You stop reacting to life altogether and you start responding and then creating it. You start innovating and shaping it to be what you want. Welcome back to the Art of Awakening podcast, where the art of living awake becomes a daily practice, a daily way of living, I might say. I'm your host, Dr. Sue Morter, and I want to ask you another question. Do you ever feel like you're stuck in your head, overthinking, overanalyzing, just trying to keep up with life? Or maybe you feel disconnected from your body, like you're carrying tension and stress or even pain, but you're not sure how it got there or how to release it, what it is. What about your breath? Is it shallow, tight, something that you barely notice? If any of this resonates, then you're not alone. First of all, know that, which is why we're talking about these things. It's easy to feel out of sync and to feel like your body and your mind and your breath are working against each other instead of together. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way at all. Today, we're diving into the integration of mind and body and breath. This is part 2 of a 2-part series. And so if you're just joining us in this podcast, as this is your first episode, make sure that you go and find the one just before this so that you can have a whole big picture here that is really nurturing you and setting you down inside of yourself and letting you know your magnificence and what you're made of and what to do about all that magnificence that has been stuffed inside and not allowed to express. And so in this episode, we're going to explore how to bring these glorious aspects of ourselves into alignment and up and out into expression so that we can experience our own magnificence. Imagine that. So, because when your mind and your body and your breath are working together, everything changes. You step into your role as a creator in your life instead of a reactor or a responder to what everybody else thinks you should be, showing up to. You stop reacting to life altogether and you start responding and then creating it. You start innovating and shaping it to be what you want, because we can become good responders and still be at the effect of the outer world. And that's not okay. It's not who you are. You're more than that. You're here to create and to innovate and to be the one who says, this is the way it's going to be in my life. This is what matters. This is what is true for me. And I'm going to keep walking through life in a way, expressing what is true until the things that don't align with that disappear and the things that do align with that show up. That's how we have to operate. I have done this in my life 100%. This is absolutely what I've been doing in my life for the last 25 years in every single way that I can find to do it. Because if I were to stop and wait for people to respond or to react positively to me in order for me to accept and feel valid in what I know to be true, I would still not know it. It would still not be happening. And the millions of people that have been supported by this conversation that I've been having over those last 25 years would have never been able to put the pieces together in the ways that they have been. I just heard moments ago about another person who heard something that I was doing in a body awake yoga class and connected the dots and had a realization about an abuse that had happened in their life, and to reframe how that meant, how that registered in her consciousness, into the point that she saw that it was actually helping support her into her awakening. Not that we have to be abused in order to awaken, but it certainly helps to have some understanding about the abuses that have happened in our lives and to put them into a different framework that supports us, just as an example. So do not wait. Do not try to train yourself to be a better responder in life. Become a creator in your life and get to know how that even begins to become possible. So we're going to cover some things today that will make that more accessible, that will start that ball rolling And as we do, what begins to happen is you start to stop trying to heal things and you heal them. And you begin to become who you truly are in the exact same moment. You become innovative and creative. So if you're ready to feel more connected, present, and alive, this is the episode for you. Let's dive in, okay? So let's begin with the mind. The mind is a powerful tool, but it's not the whole story. And it's such a powerful tool, it can work against you or work for you. And so I'm going to show you how to use your mind in a way that works for you as we complete the rest of the story at the same time. The mind's job, so it thinks, is to analyze and strategize and make distinctions and see the differences in things, this or that, right or wrong, good or bad. And there's an issue here because the mind is only partially awake. It really doesn't have any idea about the truth of who you are. It's just busy sorting from the come from that it has based upon what you've awakened to so far in your life. But parts of it remain asleep and parts of it are awake and scurrying to try to make you safe and get okay and do the thing that it does all the time. It operates in duality because it sees the world in fragments because parts of it are asleep and parts of it are awake. And when the mind doesn't have all of the parts awake, it can't have all the information. And when it doesn't have all the information, it starts doing this. It starts filling in the blanks. It creates stories. Of all the information that we don't know, it fills in the blanks. Well, here's what I bet they mean. Here's where they're really coming from. I bet this is what's really going on. And all the while, we're building a whole movie for ourselves that may or may not even be true. The more information we have, the more we can see from a place of wholeness and fullness, and things become more clear, more readily. And so it's imperative that we recognize that we have to awaken more and more and more all the time if we're ever going to be operating on all cylinders and stop writing stories and filling in blanks. We're going to be able to be present instead. It's a whole different world when that begins to happen. Because the stories that we write, they're based in fear. They're based in protection. Like, I bet if they do this, and then I'll have to be this way, and then I'll know what to do and say over here, and I'll be able to manage all of this. And a fear-based reality creates exhaustion, creates irritation, it creates illness, creates disease. It creates unsolvable problems in your life, meaning you perceive them to be unsolvable. It creates a fear of our future, a fear of the unknown, a fear of not knowing enough. And so we become obsessive with learning and taking in more and doing. The more that we believe the stories, the more they shape our reality, and they might as well be true. But here's the truth. Here's a bigger truth. These stories, they're not who you are. They're just something your mind is doing to protect itself and to protect you. They're just patterns. They're programs running in the background constantly. But we're here to unpack that, to shape-shift it. When we live from those patterns, we stay stuck in survival mode. And so then we have a dysregulated nervous system. And then we get busy trying to learn how to regulate our nervous system. All the while, we're missing the point. The nervous system is dysregulated for a reason, and it's because of how we're perceiving ourselves in this world. So how do we interrupt the cycle? We have to bring the mind into the present moment. We have to come present instead of in the past or in the future and doing all this story writing. And the best way that we can do this is to connect the mind with the body, because the body is right here all the time. The body is not in the future. The body is not in the past. The body is right here in this moment. So when you connect the mind to the mind starts to stabilize in an alpha frequency, and it begins to be able to be here instead of spinning out on something that might happen in the story that you were writing, or spinning back on some story of perception of what happened in your past that isn't serving you, particularly if it is a victim-related story. If you've been done wrong, if you've been abused or abandoned or things or cheated on or lied to, and all of those things that are going to happen on this planet in some form or another, when we start to bring the mind onto the body, we're going to build an ability to perceive those things differently than we were able to perceive them when they were happening. and differently than we've been able to perceive them since they happened, because we were spinning up in brainwave frequencies that are not solution oriented. First things first, we have to embody and integrate. So the body is the gateway to the present moment. It's always here, always now. It's always in the now. The body holds tremendous wisdom. It reflects what is awake and what is not. The body holds it all. And it stores unresolved emotions, not because it's like collecting them to get you back someday. It's saying, you didn't really quite process this, and you can't miss this. You have to get this, or it's going to take you out of the game eventually. So the body holds on to it so that you can revisit it. And I'm going to show you today how to revisit it and resolve that which is unresolved, to go back and pick up the pieces and embrace them. Because the body stores these unresolved emotions and unprocessed experiences and unconscious patterns. Think about it. Every time you've experienced stress or trauma or tension, your body has recorded it. It's keeping that score, if you will. And if that energy isn't fully processed, it gets stored in the tissues. It's not just in the energy field, then now it's in the tissues. The cells are responding as if it's true. They're pumping out chemistry as if it's still happening. Your body is still responding to something that happened 15 years ago or 25 years ago. And when that happens, we have cellular breakdown because those cells aren't designed to carry such chemistries over a prolonged period of time. It breaks down into chronic degenerative diseases and cancers, and that's all that is. That's all it is. It's not a mystery. Chronic degenerative disease, including cancer, including all the breakdowns, including the conditions that we consider associated with aging, this aging association with those things, with those chemistries, comes from never processing them, never resolving them. And so as more time passes, we become less and less functional because we haven't metabolized these things and they're bogging down the system. So it's not that we're getting old, it's that we're getting unprocessed more and more and more. We're collecting more and more gunk, as I've called it in the energy field over the years. So this is why you feel tightness in your chest or a knot in your stomach or a lump in your throat. This is the body trying to communicate with you like, hey, we got some stuff here that you're not addressing. We have some gaps in the flow. We have some shutdowns here. And we need to address it so that you don't get older sooner than you're supposed to, right? Just because you've been on the planet a long time doesn't mean that you have to be old. And we really need to disconnect those two associations. If your doctor's looking at you and saying, as we get older, blah, 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 it's like, I want you to think, no, as I become more and more stuck for longer and longer periods of time, my system stops operating in a self-healing and self-regulating fashion, and it can turn on anytime. I've had patients in my clinic in their 90s telling me that they feel better after working with these things than they have felt in 40 or 50 years. Not kidding. It's been amazing to witness what happens as people begin to truly establish a new come from, a new reference point. But the mind is often too busy, too distracted to pay attention to all these signs that are telling us. So we don't listen. So we have to redirect the mind to the body now. We have to learn how to do this. So if you recognize, just for just a moment, I want you to think about something that has been upsetting in your life, that you find yourself thinking about it over and over again. You wonder, should I pick up the phone? Should I call? Should I make a step? Should I try to make that better? And it's been going on for like 30 years in your life. Or maybe something that just happened, not too long ago. But man, oh gosh, did it impact you. And every time you think about it, you feel yourself getting worked up about it, so you push it aside so that you don't get worked up about it again. I want you to just grab one of those things for just a moment. Don't worry. We're going in, we're coming out, nobody's getting hurt, okay? You're going to be better for this process. I promise, okay? So just think about it. Just bring one of them forward and think about it. Just bring it up again. Wow, this thing is just on my mind, or when it is on my mind, I don't feel comfortable, so I try to push it out of my mind. let's just bring it here for a minute. I take a big breath. I just sit. Just set it right in front of you. Just set it right there. The whole situation. Just boom, right there it is. So I want you to think about, bring your awareness into your body. Start to access its wisdom. So you begin to feel where the energy is flowing. When you think about this situation, just notice, where does the energy flow? What's happening here? What's happening here? So you may find that you stop breathing. You may find that there's tension, etc. So I want to talk about the breath for just a moment, and then we're going to come back and work on this, okay? So here's the situation. It's affecting your breath, and maybe a lot of situations have affected your breath over a long period of time. So the breath is the bridge between the mind and the body, okay? The breath is what pulls them together and allows the mind to benefit from what the body is saying. The breath is an integrator that allows the mind to open up. When we're breathing, when we slow our breath down, we slow our mind down. And when we slow our mind down, we create an environment where things can process and they can heal. But we're always so busy using our mind in so many ways that don't allow that to be possible. It's amazing that we're still vertical, that we're still here. It's the most powerful tool that we can use to create alignment. So when the breath is shallow and erratic, it signals the nervous system that we're in danger. And so this keeps us in survival mode and reacting and coping and trying to control. But when the breath is deep and rhythmic and slow, it signifies safety. It signals safety to the brain. It tells the nervous system, hey, it's okay, chill, relax. Now let's go in and open and take an inventory, because the body, believe it or not, always wants to be healing. It's designed to always be healing. And the only reason it would not be healing something is if it is trying to survive from something. The only priority that is more important than healing is the priority of surviving. So if you're not healing, it's because your system is spending more minutes surviving than healing, and it's just locked in to that. So we don't blame it on the nervous system. The nervous system is just responding to your consciousness, and your consciousness is what's going to unpack the whole thing. That's why central channel breathing is so important. You know, in the last episode, we talked about central channel breathing. So if you didn't catch that, go and watch that episode. So you breathe up and down through the central channel of the body. You take an inhale from above and breathe it into your belly, and then you exhale into the earth. Do it right now while I'm describing it. And then we inhale up from the earth into the belly, and then we exhale up through the body, up through the chest and the throat and the center of the brain and out the top of the head. And then we take another inhale from overhead right down into the body. And what happens is you create a flow, a stream of energy, and that's what integrates, and it moves from the base of the spine up through the heart space and out the top of your head, and it integrates different levels of consciousness at the same time that it's doing this. And as this energy flows, it clears perceived blockages and balances the system and connects you. We're going to do that in just a moment, and connects you to your true highest self. So your brain is constantly shifting between different states of awareness, and each state plays a role in how you experience your life. But here's the key. You can influence these states through the integration of your mind and your body and your breath. Okay? So for just a moment, I'm going to have us do this, right? So, and then I'll come back and then just explain a little bit about what happens with the brainwave frequencies and all sorts of things. So that thing's still sitting there in front of you, right, that we just brought forward? It's still sitting there. Don't worry. It doesn't go away, right? Have you noticed? It never goes away. It's always there. So you bring it. I want you to feel how it impacts you, how it affects you, how it shuts you down or creates tension in your chest or your belly or whatever. And then I want you to ask a question. Where in my body, not necessarily what gets tight because I'm thinking of this, just release that for just a moment. Just release your body and breathe in your belly. And now in this state, this is sort of a modified version of what I call take it to the body that I teach in my coursework. But just relax your body and breathe in your belly. And in doing so, I want you to ask a really effective question about this situation. That thing that happened a long time ago that you keep thinking about, or that thing that is, fresh, that's just got a hold of you. All right, so here it is. I want you to ask a really effective question. Where in my body could I build the circuitry to be able to allow this inflowing energy from the unified field, literally, that is what's feeding this body, building this body and feeding it and healing it. And it hits the earth and it rises up and it cycles around in this toric field flow. I mentioned this in the last episode, right? Where in my central channel, where in my body could I make sure that energy is flowing freely through and not getting stopped or blocked or shut down? Because that's exactly what's happening. And that's why you've not been able to let go of that situation, because you've not allowed that situation to serve you in some way, that it is meant to be serving you. It's meant to help you awaken to where in your body these blockages are, because wherever it is in the body, it's correlating to an aspect of your own consciousness, your wholeness, that has been shut down or has never been awakened in the first place. So let's ask the question. Think of the situation. There it is. Where in my body could I build the circuits to better be able to handle this situation? And your mind is going to go somewhere. It's going to go somewhere. It's going to go somewhere, to your solar plexus, to your gut, to your heart, to your throat, to your chest, your center of your brain. It's going to do something. It already did it. It's already there. And you may be thinking a thought of like, I don't know, I don't feel it anywhere. But there's somehow in the back of your mind some sort of reference to your throat or your chest or your gut. And your part of you is aware of it, while your mind is busy thinking, I don't know about this stuff, or I can't do this. I never can feel these kind of things. Da, da, da. That mind is doing that thing. Get underneath it and just notice, where's your mind right now in your body? Where's your attention? There's some area. Put your hand on it before it gets away. Put your hand on it. Put your hand on it. Wherever it is, just put your hand there so that you don't lose track of it. And then if you know about the anchor points in the body, which I teach in the coursework, and I know a lot of you have been involved in the coursework, then anchor those anchor points. And basically what it means is, I can't teach all of that in this moment, but just come all the way into the center of your body and just kind of hug yourself along this whole central channel. Just bring your attention in here. Just bring it in here. Fold it in instead of it being out there and over there. Just bring it right here. And now bring all of your attention to that area where you put your hand. Bring all of your attention to that area. Bring it all down from above and up from below, and go in that area. Don't stay in your head looking at it. Go in there and sit down and breathe. Go inside your heart. Drop inside your throat. Drop deep inside your gut, your solar plexus, wherever it is speaking to you, and give it a hug. And sit there and breathe. And intend to love right inside this space. Make your come from be a loving one. Just love right in there while you're breathing. Just love, nothing but love. Let go of everything else and just love. Just stop at whatever you're doing, whatever else you were doing right now, and just love. And if you're driving down the road and you can't do this right now, do it later. Come back and listen and be guided through this in love. And you're going to feel something soften. You're going to feel something just kind of give way. Because love is a universal solvent. Everything dissolves in love. We just have to know where to direct it, how to magnify it, and how to amplify it and stabilize it. And when we do, things change. So you go inside of that spot and you just love. And as you love, something melts, something softens. And all of a sudden, your brain feels a little different. Your body feels a little different. And when that happens, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just exhale into the earth. Just like you belong. It's like, oh gosh, wow. I did not realize I could use my body and my mind together and my breath to bring myself home in such a way. And you're not just using this as a coping skill. You're changing. your invisible and energetic anatomy. You're changing this whole master system inside your body so that it can flow in a healing and innovative and creative way. So let's just do this. Now take a breath from the earth right up into that spot. And then exhale up the channel and out through the throat, through the center of the brain, and out the top of the head. And then take a breath from overhead as if you're like bringing in all the troops, just bringing in everything, all of the higher realms. And maybe you pray to certain aspects or components of the angels, the archangels, the deities of some sort. Just bring it on in. Receive, right into that spot. And exhale right into the earth. And become the living bridge of these worlds that we're meant to be. Because when we become that bridge enough, those two worlds become one. And you start living heaven earth instead of, the difference between the two. All right. So then let's take a deep breath in up from the earth again. And just exhale. So just as a reminder, when you're in beta, your mind is active. It's analyzing and solving problems and focusing on tasks. And this is where most of us spend most of our time. And right now, you're using that beta frequency in a productive manner. So do this instead of writing stories. That's the point. We're using the mind in an active way. We're listening, we're sensing, we're feeling, we're responding to what's going on inside, and then we're breathing up and down this central channel. So when we slow down and deepen our breath in this way, and we bring our alpha frequency focus of love right into this pure state of relaxation and presence, we feel calm and connected. And it's more than just feeling calm and connected. We're creating connectivity. We're building circuitry for energy to flow that then activates the nervous system to respond in accordance with greater information. So it's not going to write stories because it has answers. It feels answers. So when you go deeper through these practices and you drop into longer states of silence, like in meditation, you can accomplish a lot of that with central channel breathing, and then just sitting there, we enter into these deeper frequencies of theta. And when we drop into even deeper states and we just sit there afterward, like after this podcast is over, just sit and be with yourself for just a moment. That's where deep healing and creativity occurs, because we're into this deep theta and even into some delta states in a proactive fashion. You don't have to just conk out into deep sleep in delta frequencies. You can find those by integrating and connecting the dots. And so the more you do this, take it to the body, the more you build the circuitry for you to perceive this great river of stillness that is inside of you. And so when we are accessing these full states, we actually tap into gamma frequencies, states of heightened awareness and insight, because we're connected. And it arises when the mind and the body and the breath are fully integrated in all the right ways. So that's called your higher self. That's called you living not in reaction or even simply responding to what life hands you, but your ability to be creative. You're in the zone where everything flows effortlessly. And when you practice this integration, you begin to recalibrate your entire system to operate from this higher self perspective, a super conscious being. That's what you are. You are the super consciousness in body form, the more of this circuitry that we build. That's what I teach in all the courses. Everything that I do at Morter Institute is designed to bring that up into fruition and to manifest from that perspective. You move from living in the neck up to where the mind analyzes and controls, to the whole body where wisdom and creativity reside, and where you're able to translate universal intelligence from the unified field that is pouring in. It's energy, and that energy is information. Think about it that way. Oftentimes, people do not know that that energy is information. We live in a field of information, and we're designed to be able to translate that infinite information into points of relevancy in our lives where we can make wise decisions and come up with creative ways of living instead of just trying to heal something that happened 30 years ago. There's more for you than just that. The circuitry building by Take It to the Body is going to help you. You begin to live from a place of calm and clarity every day. That, my friends, is living awake. That's what we're doing here. And nothing's going to stop us because that's what we're destined to live into. So just know this. You're going to get this in the last 5 minutes of your life if you don't get it now. My desire is that you get it now and in the next several days and weeks and months to come. And I'm certainly available to guide you in that so that we can enjoy the rest of our lives instead of waiting for being in heaven someday. All right? So thank you for joining me today on the Art of Awakening podcast, where we're blending science and spirituality every day in new ways to create a life that you truly love living. And don't forget to subscribe and share this and the previous episode with friends and family. They need it. They want it, whether they know it or not. So just offer it. See what they do, right? Unconditionally. That's it. So until next time, I'm Dr. Sue Morter, always here for you. Blessings, blessings, and bye-bye for now.